I'm seeing a lot of rumours regarding Valtteri Bottas and him potentially joining McLaren for this season. Now, a lot of people might hear that and think, wait, McLaren? Isn't he going to drive for Mercedes? Isn't going to be the third and reserve driver for Mercedes for this upcoming season? Well, yes, he is. But it's not completely unheard of for test and reserve drivers to actually be attached to 2 or more teams, particularly when there is already an existing relationship there. Now, of course, Valtteri Bottas had a lot of success with Mercedes when he was a full-time driver there, when Sir Lewis Hamilton was there, and they won some championships together. Did rather well as teammates, it's fair to say. So it made sense for him to go back to Mercedes, and even if you're thinking cynically, for him to act as a bit of an insurance policy, just in case Kimi Antonelli leaves the team because he's not up to speed in Formula 1, which some people do speculate about. I'm doubtful that's going to be the case, to be honest. I think he's going to be absolutely fine, but when it comes to a test and reserve driver role, I think it's ideal for him, and it puts him in the window as well to get a full-time seat again in 2026 after he left Sauber and was pretty happy about leaving Sauber as well. It is very much fair to say, but yeah, it's not completely unheard of for these drivers to actually be attached to 2 or more teams. Look at Ollie Behrman, he's one of the best examples of this. Last season in 2024, he made cameo appearances for both Haas in Brazil and also Azerbaijan because Kevin Magnussen was unavailable for being ill and also being a very naughty boy and getting too many penalty points on his license. And he also, in the same campaign earlier on, super subbed in for Carlos Sainz at Saudi Arabia. Ollie Behrman is a Ferrari driver, and even though he's going to drive full-time for Haas in 2025, he is still actually a Ferrari driver. He's effectively just on loan at the team, not unlike the likes of, well, Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc was a Ferrari driver and went on loan for his Formula 1 debut for Sauber or Alfa Romeo. I can't remember what the name of the team was at that point, but that team, the Hinwil outfit over in Switzerland. And eventually, of course, after that one season in 2018, Charles Leclerc got the full-time Ferrari drive in 2019, the following season, just like Ollie Behrman's going to hope to do as well. But let's circle back to Valtteri Bottas here. I mean, for me, it makes sense to have an experienced Formula 1 driver as a test driver. I feel like it's really important. I mean, McLaren used to have Alex Wurz and Pedro de la Rosa back in the day, 2 very experienced drivers, 2 drivers that in truth were more than good enough to drive in Formula 1, not dissimilar to Bottas. I think he's still worthy of a seat in Formula 1 for sure, and having that experience there really does help, particularly as well when you've got a very inexperienced lineup. I mean, relatively inexperienced anyway. You know, Oscar Piastri is going into his 3rd season in Formula 1, and Lando Norris, I mean, he's coming into, what, his 7th season this season? He made his debut in 2019, didn't he? So, you know, Bottas has a lot more experience than that. He goes all the way back to 2013 for his time in Formula 1. Now, currently, the official test and reserve driver for McLaren is actually Pato O'Ward, who, if you know him from the IndyCar series, is a very good driver there. And there's rumours about him potentially coming to Formula 1 one day as well. And I believe he's had some test sessions as well in Formula 1, some free practice sessions, I should say. I'm sure he did it in his home race at Mexico a couple seasons ago, if he didn't do it this year as well, to be fair. Now, as good as Pato O'Ward is and as excellent as a driver he is, he's not someone who's particularly experienced in Formula 1. He's someone who has a full IndyCar schedule to adhere to as well. So there's going to be significant parts of the season where he is unavailable. So for me, this Bottas to McLaren rumour makes perfect sense. It makes absolute sense. They've obviously lost Gabriel Bortoleto as well, who has gone to Sauber, who will drive for them full-time this year. He's no longer a McLaren development driver. And speaking of development as well, if you look at McLaren development drivers currently, I mean, the standout is, of course, Pato O'Ward, but in terms of someone who's ready to step in potentially as a, you know, a cover just in case, I don't know, something happens to Oscar Piastri or Lando Norris for this season, there isn't anybody else, in my opinion, that is worthy of that. I mean, the closest we've got is a bunch of drivers in Formula 3. There's no Formula 2 drivers. I mean, even if these drivers could get a super license, which I seriously doubt, they're not ready for Formula 1, in my opinion. You know, Brando Badoa, Matthias Stenstone, and also Ugo Ugochukwu as well, who is, you know, these are all kids. These are all Formula 3 drivers. Some of them might even be under 18 years old, which is the minimum age that you need to be to get a super license in Formula 1. So, yeah, I've just basically gone over it all there, guys, in terms of the points and everything. It makes perfect sense for McLaren to do this. It's a rumour that I'm seeing circulating a lot right now, and by the time this video goes out, it might already be confirmed. But it makes perfect sense for McLaren to sign on Valtteri Bottas as a test test and reserve driver, and there's no reason why you can't do that and be Mercedes' test and reserve driver too. We've seen them share drivers before, I'm sure, the likes of Esteban Gutierrez, Stoffel Van Dorn, drivers like that have been both McLaren and Mercedes test and reserve drivers too. And the whole point of a test and reserve driver is to A, test, which, you know, Pato Award's not going to be able to do too much of that, and coming in as a reserve driver as well, just in case someone is unable to take the rest of the race weekend. And again, Award could potentially be half a world away when this happens. He could be competing in an IndyCar race at the same time that there is a race in Asia, or it's even bad enough if you're in Europe, and flying them out from that is not going to be good. And having someone who is a known quantity in Valtteri Bottas would be excellent for that. So I think it'd be a great signing. It makes sense, and I expect it to be confirmed very soon. What do you guys think, though? Valtteri Bottas to McLaren as a reserve driver, not a number 1, not a number 2, as a number 3, just like he is at Mercedes for this year too. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and of course we'll see you very soon for some more content on the world of Formula 1 here on the F1Chronicle.com. Have a good one, guys. See you soon.